Am I the asshole for not allowing my girlfriend to take dangerously hot showers? I've been dating my girlfriend for 8 months. Things have been going so well that when she started a project based in my part of the city, she decided to stay at my place temporarily rather than do the daily commute. I noticed that when she showers, she has the water so hot that the steam billows from the bathroom when she opens the door. It leaves everything in the bathroom wet. I've been telling her to use the dehumidifier in the bathroom as she showers. She told me that she showers with the window open and turns it on afterwards because the air was too humid for the dehumidifier. I put my foot down and told her it wasn't optional, and she ended up breaking the dehumidifier with the steam. I told her that enough was enough, and that if there's no dehumidifier when she showers, then she's going to have to shower at a normal temperature like everyone else does. What she did instead was she started locking herself in the bathroom while the steam dissipated, so I wouldn't catch her turning my bathroom into a fucking sauna. Well, last week I had enough of it. I took the lock off the bathroom door. The toilet is in a separate room, so there's still complete privacy when using the toilet, by the way. Now, she can't steam out my entire bathroom without me knowing. I knock before entering and make sure it's not too steamy in the bathroom and that the temperature of the water is normal. She hasn't said anything about it, but since I did that, her mood has been low with me. She started spending weekends at her place, and she's slowly been taking her stuff with her. I told her that I didn't do it to be nasty, but the hot showers were damaging my bathroom and probably her health too. She just says, okay, and it's fine. Am I the asshole?
He's juggling two different intentions. There's the one where he's saying like, and I'm trying to figure out which one is the more important one to him, because there's the thing of she's damaging my bathroom, but then there's also the thing of she's damaging her health. That's what I would want to figure out from this guy is what's actually bothering you.
Yeah.
So his bathroom doesn't have a fan.
It doesn't sound like it.
I hate bathrooms that don't have fans. Why is that even a thing?
Story time. My boyfriend cheated on me with the girl best friend. So a little background information. I was 17 and a junior in high school, and my boyfriend and I had been dating for a year. But just a little backstory about when we got together. So there were definitely some red flags that I missed, okay? One of them being that he had a girl best friend. And I don't care what y'all have to say if that makes me insecure or what, but coming from someone who has been the girl best friend, I knew this was not good at all. Especially whenever we first started dating and she was still being super friendly with him, meaning she would hold his hand, she would hang on him 24/7. And when I told him I was super uncomfortable with that and I felt like there needed to be some boundaries, he was like, yeah, I told you what it was whenever we got together. So if you don't like that, then just break up with me. Looking back on it now, that was also a red flag because I feel like he was telling me to break up with him so that way he didn't have to break up with me, like for part 2. Part 2 about how my boyfriend cheated on me with the girl best friend. So like I said, she would still hang all over him and he pretty much told me, if you don't like that, then you can leave. Obviously, I did not want to leave because I liked him and he was my boyfriend. So I just kept putting up with it, and eventually, we got 6 months into our relationship. So at that point, I'm thinking maybe I have a little bit more authority, to be like, hey, I don't like the way that she acts around you. You guys can't hang out like that anymore. And they would hang out alone together. He would take her to dinner, which I literally tried telling him that the stuff that they do together is relationship stuff. And he was like, that's not true at all because we did all of this stuff before you and I even got together. So anyways, like I said, 6 months in, I'm like, hey, I don't like the way that you guys are hanging around each other. Once again, he gives me the same excuse. So he pretty much said that he didn't care. And the one night him and I were supposed to hang out, but he canceled on me last minute. And her and I didn't get along, and she never Snapchatted me before, but then I get a Snapchat of her and him making out at his house.
Story time about how I crashed my ex's wedding and managed to break them up a month later. I'm definitely toxic and vindictive. So when my boyfriend broke up with me, I knew what I had to do. He and I dated for 9 months. And you could say that I was a little overbearing. If you guys saw what this man looked like, maybe you'd understand. He's the type of guy that all the girls want to get with. Not only is he super handsome, but he's also very successful. And he's a great guy. Comes from a great family and he's really close to them. I, on the other hand, grew up in the foster system, so having a family was always my biggest dream. And when I met his family, they took me in right away. His mom and I essentially became best friends. His dad would take me out to dinners and lunch, and they basically adopted me as their daughter. Here's when things started going wrong. I was extremely jealous and I basically didn't let him do anything. Every time he wanted to go out with his friends, I would start a fight. Anytime he would bring up a female friend from the past, I would simply threaten to break up with him. Trust me, I recognized that what I was doing was wrong, but part of me just couldn't control myself. I was willing to do anything to make him stay with me. Eventually, he got really sick of me, started mentioning that he wanted to take a break. So that's when I told him that I was pregnant. Was I pregnant? Absolutely not. Part 2 is up. Story time about how I crashed my ex's wedding and managed to break them up a month later. The first time he threatened to break up with me, I told him that I was pregnant. It was obviously a lie and he knew it, so he basically still walked out on me. So in order to get his attention again, I decided to go to his family and tell them that I was pregnant. And they all believed me. His mom and dad even invited me to go live with them during the pregnancy. At first I said yes, but then I was like, hold on a second. How am I gonna fake a pregnancy? So to get myself out of that, I told him that I thought I was pregnant, but I actually wasn't. Yep, I'm starting my makeup all over again at this point. I had way too many layers on. During the time we were on a break, I basically followed him around everywhere just to make sure that he wasn't hooking up with any girls. Finally, 2 weeks later, he called me and told me that he missed me. We got back together, but the same thing happened. I was still jealous and controlling, but this time he was becoming more and more jealous. So much so that he started trying to control the way that I was dressing. Around this time, we started having huge fights. He would punch the wall right by my head. I would throw things at him, even threw a knife at him once. But part of me liked that he was so jealous and toxic. He was obsessed with me. And he broke up with me again, and 2 months later, he was engaged. And guess what? His family invited me to their engagement party. Part 3 is up. Story time about how I crashed my ex's wedding and managed to break them up a month later. That's when I get the invitation for his engagement party. At this point, it seems that my ex's parents thought we separated on good terms. So of course, I showed up to that engagement party. As soon as my ex saw me, he came straight to me and told me to leave. And I told him that I was welcome because his parents had invited me. He gave me a whole speech about how we were over and I needed to accept it. But of course, not one single part of me was willing to accept that. Then he called me an Uber, so I actually did end up leaving. When the wedding comes around, I was the first guest to show up. As soon as his parents saw me, they welcomed me. So I went and sat down at the parents' table. When my ex came out, he nearly fell over. Mind you, this is the first time I'm meeting his wife. I went up to her and told her that I was an ex of his. That's when she looked at me and said, "When did you guys date?" I said, "We dated for 9 months. And then she says that they had been dating at the same time. So then a whole bunch of drama goes down. She goes to him and starts slapping him. He starts to cry. And then his parents asked me to leave. So I did. The next month, I followed her everywhere. Finally told me to leave her alone and that they had already gotten a divorce. So my plan worked. Now I'm trying to figure out how to get back with my ex. What should I do?
Am I the asshole for feeding my dog table scraps from a dinner my boyfriend made for us? I, 24 female, have been dating J, 28 male, for 4 months. He's handsome, funny, smart, well-educated, has an awesome job, and is a total sweetheart. Sunday, he had a whole day planned for us. We were gonna walk a nature trail and then go back to his place for dinner that he was making. I was excited because it would be the first time I'd be at his house. He also said I could bring my dog Shelby with us. He made a roast and some veggies for dinner, and I finished my plate before he did. There was half of the roast left, so I took half of that half with some veggies and put it on a plate for Shelby. That's when Jay asked me what I was doing. Am I the asshole for feeding my dog table scraps from a dinner my boyfriend made for us? I told him I was feeding Shelby, and he said something like, "Well, that's not dog food." He knows I mainly feed Shelby a raw diet. I opened the door to put the plate down for Shelby, and Jay got up, took the plate away from her, went to the kitchen, and came back with it wrapped in tinfoil. Then he asked me to leave. His excuse was that he made dinner for me and him, not me, him, and my dog. And that I should have asked him before I helped myself since he would have used the leftovers. Before I left, I told him that he made the meal for us so I could do with some of it as I pleased. And he knew damn well how I feed Shelby. So I'm just asking, am I in the wrong? Am I the asshole for refusing to feed my baby and going to bed? I, 23 female, and my 22 male husband brought our newborn home recently. I'm up from 1 a.m. to 11 p.m. with her most every day. I maybe get a few hour naps throughout the day, but it's barely anything. My husband, on the other hand, works 37 hours a week, and when he gets home from work, he expects me to care for her because he's had a hard day at work. Well, today when he got home, he instantly got on Fortnite, and I was finally able to catch a little sleep. 20 minutes later, she started screaming because she was hungry. My husband woke me up to feed her, and I picked her up, handed her to him, and said no. Am I the asshole for refusing to feed my baby and going to bed?
I went to bed and now my husband and his friends and family are calling me an asshole. They think it's my job to care for the baby because I'm a stay-at-home mom and I'm just so tired. Edited to add that she did not go hungry. When I said no, he got up and he fed her. He was just throwing a tantrum. We did have a set schedule, but he refuses to follow it. He says he's too tired from work and then goes back to his game. Edit number 2. He has agreed to take the day off to babysit so I can get my beauty sleep, as he calls it. I think I'm leaving him. Edit number 3. Today I got out of bed and he was willingly feeding her.